Hey there. You know what time it is? It's time for another exciting lab. Alright, are you ready for this? It's going to be crazy. Alright, step number one though, for real. Step number one, this is what's known as a steam generator, which obviously means we're probably, I don't know if you can guess from what I've got going on, we're probably going to boil some water in this, make some steam. First thing I need you to do is fill this thing up. Usually somebody's like, how far do we fill it up? Well, I'll give you a hint. There's a hole on the side of it. If you fill it up past the hole, the water will run out the side of it. So that gives you a little idea. I'm going to fill it up almost up to that hole. A little bit shy of it. Now, I am going to go ahead and warn you, as you do the lab, you're going to keep this thing boiling the whole time. So this thing's just going to stay going the whole time. I'm going to go ahead and I think the main gas valve is off. So let's take a little second here. Gas is now turned on, safety first. So I'm going to go ahead and light this burner up. Got some fire, and I'm going to slide that under there. And you need to do this like very first thing tomorrow. It's like immediately walk in, get water in this. Now, two things to watch out as you do the lab. One, this will start boiling dry as you do the lab. You need to keep an eye on it every now and then. If it looks like it's going dry, just get some more water and pour in the top of it so that it doesn't, because once it boils dry, it takes forever. Now, I'll also say this, the back sink in the back actually has hot water in it. So if you turn it on and turn on hot, it takes about 3 or 4 minutes to get hot. But if you want to, go ahead and put hot water in this and it'll get you going even faster in the lab. Alright, so are you good with step number one? Now, I also suggest you do this. Water will also kind of shoot out this little spout on the side, so if you'll just put something under it to catch it like that, that way you won't end up with water all over the table. Nothing looks dumber than walking by and y'all having a huge pile of water all over your tabletop because you won't put nothing under it to catch it. Alright, so that's basically step number one with the lab, is get this thing ready. Alright, you good? Step number two with the lab. Go ahead, you're going to have 4 pieces of metal. You're going to have 4 pieces of metal in the lab. There they are laid out right there. You've got copper, zinc, lead, and then the one that we can't spell right, cadmium. Now, some of you, I'll go ahead and say it, you will not have cadmium in yours. Some of you will have a piece of stainless steel in yours, alright? So you'll recognize there'll be a piece and it'll have SS written on the bottom. That should be your hint as to what it is. By the way, most of them have got something stamped on them to say what they are. And if you get confused, just ask me. The lead's really easy to tell because it's a pretty heavy one. So anyway, so your second step, you need to get somebody from your group to go ahead, go to a balance. Like, ooh, I've got one set over here. And you need to have somebody in your group go ahead and weigh each of the 4 pieces of metal and write those down. So like, for example, this is not plugged up, but we'll pretend it is. 48.9. The lead will probably weigh like 120 or 130 something. But just go weigh each of the 4 pieces of metal. You good so far? Alright, this is easy so far. Alright, so number one, get your water heating. Now, I'll go ahead and say this. Once you've got the water started heating and you've weighed the pieces of metal, you can go ahead and take one of the pieces of metal, and everybody always asks, what is this thing? It goes here. Somebody always asks, what is that? Like there's an official name for it. Cup with handle. This does not have an official name, so if you want to call it cup with handle, go for it. But anyway, we'll put this in here. I'm just going to go ahead, put this piece of metal in here. So basically, what am I trying to do? I'm just trying to get the piece of metal hot. Now, I do just realize I am missing one thing. Y'all come along? Go back to the man cave again. Sorry, it's a little dirty. We haven't had a chance to clean up. But we're going to need 2 thermometers for this lab. So I'm going to go ahead, grab us a... Well, somebody put this one in upside down. I'll tell you what. Teacher's aids. What's the point of these people? I mean, literally, this one's ruined. I tell you. Brings us to another good hint. Thermometers should always be stored upright. It will separate the column if they're not stored properly. Alright, so now let's get back in here. Hopefully I got 2 thermometers going in here. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and stick a thermometer down in there. What do you think the purpose of that's going to be? Tell how hot the piece of metal is. This is going to be my temperature initial of the metal eventually. Alright, so basically right now I'm kind of in cruise control because I've just got to set and wait for this to get hot. Now once this thing gets hot and boiling, your lab will go really fast. Now, for the other part of your lab, each group's going to have a calorimeter that looks like this. Calorimeter, I've got a thermometer stuck in this part. Be careful how you lay it so as not to break the thing. And now here's the way the calorimeter is made. It's got an inner cup and an outer cup, so you can actually take the thing apart. So what I'm going to do is this. I need to, I guess this would be the next step, I need to put enough water in this that would cover that piece of metal. Well, that piece of metal is only about this tall, so I'm going to fill this thing up about 2/3 full. And notice how I'm not like saying anything in particular. I'm just saying 2/3 full of water. So I want you to watch though exactly how I do this, because I need to know how much water I put in this. So are you following me? Exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a balance. I'm going to plug up my balance. Turn my balance on. Now watch how I do this. Are you ready? I'm going to go ahead and get me some water in a beaker and have it ready. Got me some water in a beaker. Here's the thing. I need to know how much water is in this. So I'm going to set it down on top of there, and I'm going to hit the 0 button. So I've got it zeroed out right now with the water in it. Cool? Now I'm going to take it, pour in the water, about 2/3 full, and set it back. And now guess what I know? I zeroed it empty, so now I know exactly my mass of water. So like me, I'm in ounces. Let's change that. I've got 114 grams of water, 0.5. So do you see how easy it is to get your mass of water? So now, I need you to come back, and you're going to have to redo this every time you do the lab, every trial. You got it? Some people be like, we filled the water up at the beginning. You have to redo this every single time, which means pour out the water when you're done, dry the thing, go back, set it on, zero it, add your water. I'm going to bring back this beaker in case I need it for something, catch my waste. Now, from here on out, the rest of the lab, I want to keep, and I don't want to spill any of this water. Trying to do this really carefully. Put this back together. I don't want this water to get close to the heat, because this heat, even though this is insulated, that heat could try and warm up the water, and I don't want that to happen in this lab. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to bring this, I'm going to set it over here. And now I've got another thermometer in the calorimeter. Make sure that this thermometer actually goes into the water. I've actually had somebody do this lab before, and they're like, Mr. Cole, we never got any temperature changes in the lab. And I walked over and I checked their calorimeter, and the thermometer was stuck in like that far. And it's like, that's because your thermometer didn't touch the water to measure temperature changes. So, make sure it's down in there enough that that didn't happen at all. Bam! Stick that together. And now basically what we're going to do is wait. We're going to wait for this to get hot. And right now it's up to 52 degrees right now. And in theory I could go ahead and do the lab right now. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to actually try and wait for it to get up to about 80. I want the temperature in this to get up to about 80. And so what we'll probably do here in a second, can you see the steam already coming out of this thing? That's what's called a steam generator. So here I've got this, and I'm going to keep watching. Basically what I'm going to do is this. Alright, are you ready now for how this last part goes down? So everybody's good. Get your water, get it hot, weigh your metal, put your metal in here, get that water, make sure you know the mass of that water. That's all we've done so far. So here's going to be the actual go time for the lab, and this is where you're going to have to be teamwork, kind of get ready to go. It'd be good if somebody had like a stopwatch or just a watch ready or something, because we're going to try and write down the temperature every 30 seconds. Y'all, the whole goal of this lab is going to be simple. We need to get the hot piece of metal out of here, and guess where we want to put it? Into there. Which means I need to know how hot this piece of metal is before I put it in the water. Guess what else I need to know? I need to know how cold the water is before the metal goes in. So are you getting this? Two really important temperatures. I need like this, and say for example coal is over here with this thing. And just for reference. Alright. So what we're going to do, this is the way it's going down. I'm going to be like, coal, I'm actually almost 70 degrees right now in reality, which means I probably could do it. But I'm going to be like, coal, alright, mine's hot enough. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Coal's ready. So now, I'm going to be looking, and it's like, alright, I need somebody to write down the temperatures. I'm going to be like, alright, mine is at 78.6 degrees. Got it?
Got it.
So temperature initial of the metal is 78.6. What's the temperature initial of the water?
45 degrees Celsius.
Okay, Cole made up a lousy number. It probably should be about 20, because it should be kind of cold water. So let's try this again. Okay, mine's ready. I've got 72.8 degrees Celsius. What's yours?
21 degrees Celsius.
That's the temperature initial of the water. This is temperature initial of the metal. This is temperature initial of the water. So now, are you ready? Cole's going to take the top off the calorimeter. You ready? And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to very easily put the metal in there without splashing it, which I splashed it. Cap it 30 seconds. I want to know what temperature that is in 30 seconds. So for 30 seconds, we're just going to sit here and wait. Guess what we can go ahead and do while we're waiting on that? Get another piece of metal and go ahead and put it in there to let it be getting hot. So here we go. How much time has it been?
21 seconds.
21 seconds, alright. Tell me when it's 30 seconds. We'll get this next temperature.
Alright.
24.1 degrees Celsius. We'll write that down. Now guess what we're going to do? Another 30 seconds. Okay, that's about 30 seconds. 24.8. Now guess what we're going to do?
For another 30 seconds.
Another 30 seconds. And now I'm going to come back over, and chances are it's going to fall. So now it's like 24.1. If it's fell, that means it's already topped out. So guess what?
You're done?
We're done. We're going to record temperatures every 30 seconds, which it probably won't take 2 minutes worth, so 4 times, until the temperature either stops going up or actually starts to go back down. Y'all, this is all you're going to do in the lab. This is how easy it is. Calculations will be more involved, but this is basically it. There's 3 temperatures I'm looking for in particular in your lab. Are you ready? I need to know how hot the metal is before it goes in the water. I need to know the temperature of the water before the piece of metal goes into it. And I need to know, after you put in the metal, the highest temperature it gets up to before it either stabilizes or drops. That's it. Are you following it? So can we do this? So what we need to do with this now that we're done. Yeah, we can go ahead, we can take this apart. I'll probably be like, hey, can one of my partners dry that? If you want to get the metal out, pretty easy way is just to take a brush like this and you can just pick your metal out. In terms of this thing, guess what needs to happen now? We need to get the water out. Really need to go ahead and dry it up. So we need to go ahead and take a paper towel, dry this, and then we do it all over again. So we'll go back over here, zero it out empty, put in about 2/3 water, put this back together, and then all we'll do, and this is what happens. Once you do the first one, it goes really fast. Because by the time I get that like filled with water and ready again, this temperature in here is like 74 degrees. Guess what I can go ahead and do? I can go ahead and, what am I going to do? Take me through the process. Get this temperature, get that temperature, and then, and what we want to make sure not do, splash it when we put it in. Be careful. Alright, thank y'all.